Hi there, we are going to go over the answers to your heat and temperature end of unit review. So first question, they want you to list the parts to the particle theory. You can find the particle theory and some of the parts on page 203 in your book. So the first thing is all substances or matter are made of invisible tiny particles. We can't see them with our eye. Next, particles are always moving, so they have motion. In the case of solids, they're just vibrating. In the case of liquids, they're moving around faster. And gases, the particles are moving even faster. In the case of these two, the particles are actually going from place to place, and so they flow. And particles have spaces. Okay, solids, liquids, gases, so very little space, more space, and lots of space. And number 4 in the particle theory has to do with what happens when we heat particles. So when we heat particles, they move fast and they spread out. And of course they expand. Is heat a substance or a form of energy? Well, heat energy is not matter, it is energy. And it's dependent on two things: the temperature of the substance and the number of particles. Next, how does the particle model explain a change of state from one to another? So, as you know, particle theory basically says the following. As we heat particles, they move faster. And so on page 218, it gives a great description of this. If they move faster, that means they spread out. And when they spread out, they expand. And if they expand enough, they can change state. Next, a metal bolt heated to a high temperature will be slightly larger than if it was in a freezer. Why? Again, this is about expansion versus contraction. So, when we cool substances, the particles slow down. They get closer together, and they shrink or contract. And when we heat substances, they move faster, they spread out, and they get bigger or expand. Next, define conduction, convection, and then radiation. Okay, heat moves in 3 different ways: through conduction, which works only in solids and it's collision of particles. Convection has to do with liquids or gases. And let's go over here. A convection current works like this. You need unequal heating. So a candle, the air above the candle gets heated. It moves faster. It starts to become less dense and it rises. But as it gets away from the heat source, the particles slow down, they cool, and they get more dense and they sink. Now the other thing is pressure. This creates low pressure, and over here is high pressure. So what happens is it comes into a convection current. Radiation is the movement of heat without particles. So no particles are needed. That means that radiation moves through empty space. And radiation is dependent on different types as well as